The story begins on the steps of a London hospital, where history quietly unfolded. At 4:24 in the afternoon on July 22, 2013, George Alexander Louis was born at the Lindo Wing of St. Mary's Hospital, weighing 8 pounds and 6 ounces. As tradition required, the official birth announcement was placed on the gilded easel outside Buckingham Palace, allowing the world to share in the historic moment. Only a few months later, on October 23, 2013, George was christened at the Chapel Royal. Instead of selecting godparents from Europe's royal families, William and Catherine chose 7 close friends and trusted companions. It was a subtle but meaningful decision that reflected the approach they intended to take throughout George's childhood. From the very beginning, their goal was clear: to raise a future king in the most normal environment possible while respecting the responsibilities of his position. His early years were spent at Anmer Hall in Norfolk before beginning school at Thomas's Battersea in September 2017. School runs were often handled by his parents, and family holidays remained largely out of the public eye. Royal author Robert Jobson has described those early years as one of the most carefully protected childhoods ever experienced by a direct heir to the British throne. The few public glimpses revealed a thoughtful and reserved young boy. As the eldest of 3 children, George is the older brother of Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis. Those who know the family often describe him as calm, observant, and quietly confident. He reportedly enjoys football, supports Aston Villa alongside his father, and feels comfortable being treated like any other teammate rather than constantly being viewed as the future king. Catherine has frequently spoken about maintaining ordinary household routines, including chores, simple family rules, and regular bedtimes. It reflects a parenting style designed to give George as normal an upbringing as possible, despite the extraordinary future that awaits him. Then came September 2022, a month that brought several life-changing events at once. The family moved to Adelaide Cottage in Windsor, giving George and his siblings a quieter place to grow up. George also began attending Lambrook School near Ascot. Just 2 weeks later, Queen Elizabeth II passed away at Balmoral, forever changing the line of succession. At only 9 years old, George of Cambridge became George of Wales and moved into the position of second in line to the British throne. Less than a year later, on May 6, 2023, he stepped onto the world stage during King Charles III coronation. Serving as a page of honour, George helped carry the king's robes before a global audience of millions, becoming the youngest future monarch ever to play an official role in a British coronation. Since then, his public appearances have followed a carefully planned path. He joined Prince William at the Euro final in Berlin during July 2024. He also attended the VE Day 80th anniversary commemorations in May 2025, followed by Wimbledon, where his genuine reactions quickly attracted public attention. Later in 2025 came another major family milestone. William and Catherine relocated from Adelaide Cottage to Forest Lodge, a spacious Georgian home tucked deeper inside Windsor Great Park. Palace sources have described the property as the family's long-term home, offering greater privacy and stability as their children grow older. Royal author Robert Jobson has suggested the move reflected stability rather than status. It is expected to be the place George will return to during school holidays, no matter where he continues his education. When George celebrated his 12th birthday in July 2025, another quiet but significant royal tradition began to apply. According to long-standing custom, a direct heir is generally expected to stop travelling on the same aircraft as the monarch or the next heir once reaching that age. Although it is not a legal requirement and exceptions can still be approved, the practice exists to protect the continuity of the line of succession in the event of an unexpected tragedy. Ingrid Seward, the longtime editor of Majesty magazine, has observed that this is one of the earliest moments when the institution begins viewing a child not simply as a member of the family, but as an essential part of the monarchy's future. Reports have suggested that Prince William, drawing on his own experience as a former air ambulance pilot, understands those risks better than most and has accepted the arrangement for longer journeys. For parents determined to give George a normal childhood, it was one of the first traditions that could not easily be adjusted. The next major change is the one royal observers have been discussing most. George is expected to complete his time at Lambrook School during the summer of 2026, and the decision about his secondary education is likely to reveal much about the future direction of the royal family. William and Catherine have reportedly visited Eton College, the historic boarding school near Windsor Castle that educated both William and Prince Harry. They have also been linked with Marlborough College, Catherine's former co-educational school in Wiltshire. Like any parents, they are believed to be carefully weighing every option. According to reports, the discussion has reflected 2 different priorities. Catherine is said to value preserving the sense of normal childhood they have worked hard to create, while William reportedly appreciates Eton's experience in educating members of the royal family and its close proximity to Windsor. Former royal editor Duncan Larkham has suggested that Eton remains a strong possibility because of its long history of providing security, privacy, and stability for future heirs. Whatever decision is ultimately made, reports indicate the announcement is expected after George's birthday celebrations. The focus, for now, remains on marking this important personal milestone before attention shifts to the next stage of his education. Perhaps the biggest transformation, however, is one the public rarely sees. Royal historian Robert Lacey wrote in Battle of Brothers that Prince William gradually introduced George to the reality of his future role around his 7th birthday. Rather than one dramatic conversation, it was described as a slow and carefully managed process designed to help him understand his responsibilities over time instead of all at once. According to palace sources, that gradual preparation has continued ever since. It can be seen in the carefully chosen moments George has shared with the public. Rather than remaining in the background, he served as a page of honor during the coronation, appeared beside his father on the Buckingham Palace balcony during major national celebrations, and attended high-profile sporting events where he has slowly become more comfortable with public attention. Those close to the household believe every appearance has been carefully planned, allowing George to become familiar with royal duties step by step. Instead of placing sudden pressure on him, William and Catherine are introducing him to public life at a pace that matches his age and confidence. This approach reflects far more than modern parenting. It represents one of the most thoughtful succession plans the monarchy has ever followed. Prince William understands better than anyone what growing up under intense public attention can feel like. His own teenage years were shaped by deeply personal challenges. After beginning life at Eton College, he soon witnessed the intense media attention surrounding his parents' marriage, followed by their separation and, only a few years later, the heartbreaking loss of Princess Diana. Those experiences have remained with him throughout adulthood. Many royal observers believe they continue to influence the way he is raising George today. In October 2025, William offered a rare glimpse into family life during a conversation with actor Eugene Levy for an Apple TV travel series. Speaking openly about his children, he explained that George still does not own a smartphone, reflecting the couple's desire to protect their children from unnecessary pressures for as long as possible. William also spoke about wanting to approach royal life differently from previous generations, emphasizing the importance of balancing duty with family life. Those close to the prince believe his message was aimed not only at the public but also at demonstrating that the monarchy can continue to evolve while preserving its traditions. The result is a young teenager whose life is filled with remarkable contrasts. He is a schoolboy who enjoys playing football with classmates, yet he is also a future monarch whose image appears on official commemorative coins. He spends weekends supporting Aston Villa alongside his father, while quietly learning the responsibilities that one day will accompany the crown. Each July, Catherine continues another family tradition by photographing George herself, creating a yearly portrait that captures not only his growth as a young boy but also the gradual journey toward the role that awaits him. Every new photograph is closely examined by royal watchers, who notice the smallest changes in his appearance and often compare his features with both Prince William and Princess Diana. Behind those familiar family images lies a reality few children ever experience. Every passing birthday brings George one step closer to greater public responsibility, even while his parents continue working hard to preserve the ordinary moments of childhood. Once the announcement about his next school is made, another important chapter of his life will officially begin. It will mark the transition from childhood into the years that will prepare him more directly for the future. The future of the monarchy is not being shaped only during grand ceremonies or historic occasions. It is developing quietly through everyday family life inside Windsor Great Park, where William and Catherine continue balancing tradition with modern parenting. George's childhood has been carefully designed to provide as much normality as possible despite his extraordinary future. As he celebrates his 13th birthday, that balance becomes more important than ever. The next stage of his journey is only beginning, and with each passing year, the future king continues taking one quiet step closer to the role history has already prepared for him. As George enters his teenage years, the world will continue watching every milestone with growing interest. Yet behind the headlines and public appearances remains a family determined to give their eldest son the strongest possible foundation before the full weight of royal responsibility eventually arrives. For now, George is still a young boy enjoying school, football, family outings, and time with his brother and sister. But each carefully planned appearance, each important decision, and each passing year quietly prepares him for a future unlike any other. Royal observers believe the coming years will bring more opportunities for George to gradually take part in public life, always under the careful guidance of William and Catherine. Rather than rushing the process, they appear committed to ensuring every new responsibility comes at the right moment. That patient approach has become one of the defining features of George's upbringing. It reflects a modern vision of the monarchy, one that values both duty and personal well-being. As his 13th birthday marks the beginning of a new chapter, it also reminds the public how much has changed since the world first saw the newborn prince outside St. Mary's Hospital in 2013. Over the past 13 years, George has quietly grown from a baby in his parents' arms into a thoughtful young teenager preparing for an extraordinary future. The journey ahead will undoubtedly bring greater expectations, new responsibilities, and historic moments. But for now, Prince George remains exactly what his parents have always hoped he could be: a confident, grounded young boy enjoying childhood while slowly preparing for the day he will one day serve as king. Every birthday tells a story, but George's 13th birthday represents something far greater than another year passing. It marks the point where childhood gradually begins giving way to greater responsibility, while the future of the monarchy quietly continues taking shape behind palace walls. For more than a decade, William and Catherine have worked carefully to balance two very different realities. On one hand, they have raised their son with as much normality as possible. On the other, they have gently prepared him for a role unlike any other in the world. That balance has defined every stage of George's upbringing, from school runs and football matches to carefully managed public appearances and important royal occasions. Each experience has been another small step toward the future that has awaited him since the day he was born. As the next chapter begins with a new school, greater public attention, and increasing royal responsibilities, George remains a teenager growing up under extraordinary circumstances. Yet those closest to him continue focusing on ensuring he enjoys the moments of youth before the demands of duty inevitably become greater. Only time will reveal exactly what kind of King Prince George will one day become. But one thing already seems clear: the careful planning, steady guidance, and strong family support surrounding him today are shaping not only a future monarch, but also a young man prepared to lead with confidence when that moment finally arrives. For now, the celebrations belong to a 13-year-old boy. The history can wait just a little longer. Although George's story is only beginning, the choices made today will influence the monarchy for decades to come. Every stage of his upbringing has reflected a careful balance between royal tradition and modern family life. Rather than rushing him toward public duty, William and Catherine have chosen a patient approach, allowing him to develop naturally while gradually understanding the responsibilities that await him. That strategy has shaped everything from where he lives and goes to school to the way he appears at national events. Each experience has quietly prepared him for a future that few people could truly imagine. As George enters his teenage years, public curiosity will only continue to grow. More royal engagements, important family milestones, and new educational experiences are expected to become part of his journey. Yet those closest to him remain focused on preserving the values that have guided his childhood from the very beginning. One day, Prince George will wear the crown. Until then, his parents appear determined to let him enjoy life as a young teenager while carefully preparing him for the extraordinary role that lies ahead. His 13th birthday is more than a personal celebration. It represents another quiet step in the making of a future king. And while history continues watching from afar, George's greatest lessons are still being learned at home, surrounded by family, one year at a time. As Prince George celebrates his 13th birthday, one thing becomes increasingly clear. His journey has never been only about royal titles or future responsibilities. It has been about preparing a young boy for an extraordinary life while protecting the ordinary moments that matter most. Every decision made by William and Catherine has reflected that same purpose, allowing George to enjoy childhood while gradually introducing him to the responsibilities that one day will define his future. From family life at home to carefully planned public appearances, every step has been taken with patience and intention. The years ahead will undoubtedly bring greater expectations, new milestones, and increasing public attention. His education, future royal duties, and growing role within the monarchy will all become part of the story the world continues to follow. Yet for now, George remains a teenager celebrating an important birthday surrounded by the people who know him simply as a son, a brother, and a grandson. Long before he becomes king, those experiences will shape the person he eventually becomes. Only time will reveal what kind of monarch Prince George will one day be. But if the first 13 years are any indication, the careful guidance, strong family values, and steady preparation surrounding him today are laying the foundation for the future of the British monarchy. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below.